Nice. We handle loading, we handle error. I think now we can focus on the return. And I'm going to start by removing this error. Hopefully, we are clear what we're getting back. And then I would want to console log again one more time the product because we'll have to pull out most of the properties from that product. So let's go here to any of the products. It doesn't really matter. And then one by one, we'll just have to grab them. So we've got, of course, the ID. Then we have category. What is going to be the category of the product? Of course, we have colors, available colors, company, description, whether it is featured or not. And in this case, by the way, we don't care about that. Then we have images because remember, for the single product, we have more images. It's not just like in featured or in products page where we display one. There's going to be multiple images. That's why we'll set up separate component. Of course, there's a name, there's a price, the name of reviews and stars. So use that one in the stars component. That will also set up, as well as whether the shipping is true. Again, not something that we'll use in this particular page, but in general, it is there. And then the stock. So stock just tells us whether we have items in stock, because some items by default in the API have 0. So there are no items in the stock. And now let me remember which one was it. So let me look at the details. Notice this one, available is equal out of stock. And that's why I'm not even showing add to cart, because there's no items available. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind. Now let me navigate back and I'll destructure the properties that we'll use in this return. So I'm going to go with name first. Then I would want to go with price, description. Then I also would want to have that stock. So whether the product is available, the amount of stars, and then reviews as well. Then ID. Now I'll give it an alias of SKU. So technically I can use the same ID. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to pull it out from the product and I'll give it an alias of SKU. And then the company, of course, as well as the images. Remember, that was the array. And all of that is coming from the product. And as far as the return, we'll start with a wrapper here. And then inside of the wrapper, I would want to set up first my page hero. Now, this page hero will be a little bit different because, like I said, there's going to be an extra link. So first of all, let's just go with a basic page hero. We'll say that the actual name is the name of the product, like so. And let's close it. And let's see what we're going to have. And as you can see here, I have home and then whatever is the name of the product. Now, what I would want is to conditionally also show the product. So that link to the products page. Now, again, it's going to be conditional because in the actual products page, I'm not going to do that. However, in a single product, I would want to do that. That's why I'll navigate to my page hero, where it is. This is, of course, my component. So where it is, page hero right here. And then inside of this component, like I said, I'll be checking for one more prop. And the prop name will be product. So say if it is basically a product, then there's going to be some extra return. So in between the title and the home, so right in between them, I would also want to set up one more expression where I'm going to say if the product prop is true, then I would also want to return one more link, which is going to be to the products page. So link to, and then we're navigating to the products, of course. And then inside of this link, we're just going to have a / like so. So we go with /. And now, of course, at this point, we would need to remove this one. Sorry. This one should be in front of the title. And then here we'll just say product. So conditionally, if we are in the single product, then of course we'll display the product link as well. And if I'm checking for the product prop, of course, in the single product, I just need to pass it in. I need to say that, yep, in the single product page, I'll pass in that prop. And that's why we'll have the home and then products, and then whatever is the product name. Okay, that should do it. That is, of course, our page hero. And next, I would want to set up my div where I'm going to have the links, the images, and all that. So right after the page hero, let's go with div with few classes. We'll have section class, section center class. Again, some classes we have already covered before, as well as the page class. And then we'll start by presenting a link. So I'll say here link to, and we would want to navigate to the products back. And I also would want to showcase the text, of course. So back to products here. Now I do want to add a little bit of styling. So I'll use one of the global class names, and that one will be button. So I save, and this is something we should see. We have back to product link. Now, of course, I would want to display those images as well as the info about the product. That's why inside of this div, so don't place it outside. Inside of this div, let's go with products and then center div. And in here, I'll start by displaying the product images or product images, I guess, component. Now, again, there's nothing in the component yet. We'll set it up in one of the following videos, but I do want to render just so you can see what eventually we're going to have on a page. So go with product images component, which eventually will be looking for this images array because there's going to be quite a few images in there. So that's number one. The moment it's just text with product images, don't worry, we'll fix that. And then the second thing here is going to be my section with a class of content, like so. And then inside of this content, I'm going to go first with my name. Again, the property that I pulled out the object, and I save, and there it is. Now, of course, I'm loading, and then I have the name. Now, right after that, I would want to display the stars, but there's going to be a little bit of logic in there. Because if you take a look, we have the property, of course, and then we have the reviews, but I actually would want to showcase the icons. So we'll have to do a little bit of logic. That's why there's going to be a stars component that eventually we'll set it up. And at the moment, it's just going to be a text of stars. Okay. Then I'm going to set up my heading 5 where I would want to have the price. So heading 5, and we already covered how we can format it. Right, so we already have the function. That's why I'll go with my expression, and we'll go with format price, and I'll pass in the price. We save, and there it is. Now, of course, we should have the price. Then there's a description here. So let's go with class name first of all, of description, just for the styling purposes. So description, like so. And then in order to access my variable, I just need to look for my description. And now I have my description. Then there's going to be a info paragraph. And inside of that info paragraph, I'm going to have a span of available. So if I take a look, notice I have these paragraphs with the span. One is going to be whether the product is available, whether we have it in a stock or not. Then we have the SKU, meaning the ID, and also the brand. So all of them will look somewhat the same. Now, for the available, I would want to check whether the length of the stock is bigger than 0. Because remember, when it was coming from the API, we had some kind of number. So if the value is 0, then of course I know that there are no more items in stock. So it doesn't make sense to keep on adding to the cart or nothing like that, correct? So we're going to go with paragraph right after description. And the class name will be info because, like I said, there's going to be a few of them. Pretty much the same, is just different info in there. So start with span and we'll say available, like so. And then right after the span, and by the way, I would want to add a colon here as well. I would want to set up my expression where I'm going to check if the stock is bigger than 0, then I would want to display that, yeah, it's in stock. If not, then of course it's going to be out of the stock. So let's go here in stock. And by the way, I don't think I'm going to be able to access that particular product that's out of the stock. So you will have to just trust me. And then eventually, once we set up all the products, of course, you'll be able to see that by navigating to that single product page with that particular ID. So out of stock, if of course the value is not, and of course I do have the missing question mark here. And for this one, it should be in stock. There it is. Now, of course, it is in stock. And I would want to copy and paste because there's going to be two more. Now, this is not going to be stock, but the paragraph will be exactly the same. It's going to be info. And then inside of it, I have SKU. So let's just write here SKU, or you know what? My apologies. This one should be second one. My bad. And then I would just want to display that SKU. And then the last info, again, I don't need the stock anymore here, is going to be a brand. So as you can see, I'm just using that info paragraph for styling, and I'm just copying and pasting. So company here, once we save, we should have all these three values. So this is the only one that's technically dynamic. Rest of them, I'm just grabbing from the API. And now I would want to set up the horizontal line. And then right after the horizontal line, I would want to go with add to cart component. Because when it comes to adding to the cart, there's going to be multiple colors available. So that's why I wouldn't want to set this up in the actual single product. There's going to be a separate component that sets up how many items we're going to add to the cart, as well as the color. Again, if you need a refresher, just go to any other and you'll see that. And of course, for some reason, all of the ones that I'm showing you have only one color. Now, see, we have multiple colors. And since there's going to be some logic involved, I don't want to set this up in a single product. Yeah, technically I could have, but I just thought that it makes a little bit more sense if we separate these concerns. So there's going to be a separate component that deals with this adding to the cart functionality, as well as, well, which color are we actually adding? Now, here's the thing. I only want to display that component if the in-stock value is bigger than 0, correct? What's the point of showing the colors, the amount, and all that if I cannot add that item to the cart anyway, since out of this stock? And again, if you want to see how it's going to look like, I think this one was out of stock, and notice I'm not rendering that component. So right after the horizontal line, I'll set up another expression. And again, I'll check for the stock. I'll say if it is bigger than 0, only then showcase add to cart component. Nothing is in there at the moment in the add to cart. By the way, we just need to go with and as well. So we're going to go with and if, of course, stock is bigger than 0, then we'll see add to cart component. If not, nothing will be displayed. That should be our basic setup. And as you can see, we just have 3 components that we need to work on. We need to work on product images, where I would want to show the images and add the functionality where we can change that image. Then, of course, we have the stars, where at the moment we have only the values, only the number values. But what I would want is to showcase my nice icons. And then lastly, we have add to cart functionality, where we can change the colors and change the amount of items we would want to add to the cart.